Hey, Bryce. Okay, admit all.
Cool. Trying to connect it in the 500 level.
There's here. Hey,
Nick.
we get some royalty here too. Dr. Dillenberg.
Oh my
Dr.
God.
Dillenberg.
Royal what is what I want to know.
No
Comment from you, Bryce.
comment.
Hey, Jack.
Hi, Bryce. Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Mary and Sally.
Hi.
Mary and Sally, holy mackerel. I want to record this.
No, we are.
I know.
There's still a few people logging.
That Ted too over there?
Yeah,
Hey, Ted. All right. Woo, woo, woo.
X team. Otherwise, we wouldn't be joining you right now.
I was going to say, welcome to my world.
Where's Jack broadcasting from? Is Man Cave?
Man cave.
Yes, man mine, the man mine.
Fine.
Awesome.
It's a mining town. That's why it's not a cave.
That way, when his wife walks in, he can say, "This room is mine."
It's usually the other way around. I go in the house and say, the man mine is yours. This is mine.
Can I please call you back? I'm sorry. I have to help Bryce. Okay. Oh, Bryce, well, wait a minute. Yeah, okay, I'll call you back. Bryce, there's a little X. Look, what the heck is going on? Look, up here, there's a little X. Let me just- Is it making?
Now you're muted. You were doing
I
okay.
muted. I muted Bryce's
Oh, you did.
audio until
Good.
he gets ready.
Cool.
And just a reminder to everybody else, go ahead and mute your audio until you're ready to speak. Unless you're speaking right now. I think we've got
Are you okay?
everybody that we're going to get.
Okay.
Give me we're I was going to start the recording, but it's already recording. So go
Okay.
ahead. Go
All right,
ahead.
I'm going to call to order the Town of Jerome regular meeting of the Design Review Board. Today is Monday, March 1st, 2021. It is approximately 6 p.m. Rosa, can you call roll? You're muted.
Okay. Tyler Christensen,
Here.
Bryce Wood,
Here.
John McDonald, Carol Whitner. Here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosa. Okay, on to item number 2, petitions from the public. John, do we have any petitions from the public tonight? And you muting yourself.
That's never happened before. I haven't seen any of it as of 20-30 minutes ago.
Okay, cool. Okay, on to item number 3, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of February 1st, 2021. Has everyone had a chance to take a look at this? Any comments or discussion? Looks good to me. Thank you, Rosa, for putting this together.
I would like to move that we approve the minutes from last meeting. And I'd also like to compliment Rosa and John for getting this stuff together as well as it has been recently. I appreciate that.
Yeah, me too. It's very good.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. I'll go ahead and second. With that, a motion and a second, I'll call the question of approving the minutes of the regular meeting of February 1st, 2021. All those in favor, please say aye.
I
Aye. And opposed? And that passes. On to item number.
Tyler?
Yes,
Excuse me. I'm sorry, I missed who motioned and who seconded.
I second.
I made the motion.
Got it. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's all
Okay.
right.
On to item number 4, selection of officers. Select a new chair and vice chair. And I don't know where to go from here. Do I give it to John?
I'm going to give it back to you guys. John Knight, zoning administrator. Just a brief introduction. We do this once a year for those of you who are new or joining as guests. We do this once a year in March typically. And it's traditional that the vice chair rolls up to chair, although it's not by any means required. We only have 4 members now. We are still searching for a 5th member. So it's really up to you guys. You cannot serve 2 consecutive terms in the same role. So for example, sorry, you can't serve 3 consecutive terms in the same role. So you can serve 2 consecutive terms. So if you want to keep the current chair and the current vice chair, or if you decide that somebody else like Carol or John should be chair or vice chair, it's up to you. So those are your options. I think it's, you have a lot of options in terms of what you'd like to do with the chair. So thank you.
I'd like to start out by saying that I am very appreciative and I felt very privileged to be the chair the last year. I want to thank you guys for putting me in that position. I feel like I've learned a lot, and it's good to have this kind of responsibility. It's like I said, it's a privilege. So I would be very interested in continuing this if the board agrees with that. I feel like I'd like to know what you guys think. Yes, Bryce.
Yeah, I think you're doing a terrific job, Tyler, and I would nominate you to continue on as chair for your second term,
Thank you.
second year.
Carol, John?
I certainly agree with that. I think that would be the best thing for us.
Okay, cool. Well, Bryce, would you like to make that a motion formally?
Yes, that is a motion.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Yes,
Okay, so a motion from Bryce, a second from Carol, to, I don't know how to say this, to continue me as chair, as the chair of the Design Review Board. All those in favor, please say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And that passes. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate this, and I look forward to another year. And also, we need a vice chair. And I would like to thank Bryce for being my vice chair. And with that, I'd like to make a motion to nominate him as continuing to be my vice chair, if the board agrees with that.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Doesn't look like that. I'll call the question. All those in favor of nominating Bryce as the vice chair, please say aye.
I,
Aye. And those opposed? And that passes. Thank you guys very much. A nice smooth transition. And with that, on to item number 5, DRB meeting dates for 2021. Confirm meeting dates and approve adjusted dates that land on federal holidays. And everyone's got the paperwork for that.
Attachment.
So it looks like what's highlighted, Tuesday, July 6th and Tuesday, September 7th. Am I correct, John?
That's correct. John Knight, zoning administrator. Every year we try and go through and put together a calendar for the meeting dates. And you'll see both DRB and P&Z are on there. We didn't have any conflicts with P&Z, fortunately. But when the holiday lands, DRB meetings, of course, are on Mondays. And when the holiday lands on a Sunday, like the 4th of July, for example, then we celebrate that holiday, or we get the day off, depending on how you look at it, on the Monday. So what happens is the 5th of July, Monday, July 5th becomes the regular date. So we had to bump it out, and the exact same thing happens again in September for Labor Day. So those are the 2 days. We don't have to move them to the following Tuesday. Those days didn't have conflicts with any other meetings. So I like the idea of just bumping them one day if that works for the rest of the board.
I feel like it's far enough in the future that I can plan to make that happen. What does the board think?
I think yes.
Yes, I think.
John?
Sounds good to me.
Cool. Well, I was asking John McDonald.
That John,
He's
sorry.
nodding. Yes, okay. All right. Do we need a motion for that?
Yeah, I'd like to get a motion just so we have it officially in the verbal record here.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to confirm these dates on Tuesday, July 6th, 2021 and Tuesday, September 7th, 2021 for alternate meeting dates instead of federal holidays.
I'll second it.
Okay, Carol beat you there.
Carol beat
Okay,
you.
so a motion is second on the floor. All those in favor of what I just said,
Perfect.
say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And oppose? And that passes. There you go, John.
Great.
Hey,
Thank you very much. We will, by the way, we will be posting this on our town website. And I think we'll print it on the back of the applications or something so that people, when they pull applications, will have those dates as well. And you'll notice one of the problems we have with both our P&Z and DRB is people submitting applications and information at the last minute. So I've also added, you'll see a separate column there with application submittal dates. It's less of an issue with DRB because there tend to be, because we don't have to do public hearings and notices. But typically I like to see the information come in about 3 weeks before the deadline. So if anybody does happen to ask you about submittal dates, we do have the schedule now, and we can get that information to them. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Okay, on to item number 6, updated signage and paint for grapes, Coppertown coffee, and Coppertown t-shirts. The applicant is Eric Jurison. The address is at 111 Main Street. The owner of record is Jerome Investments 2 LLC. This is in the C1 zone, and the applicant is seeking preliminary and final design review to update signage for several existing businesses. The request also includes updated paint for the building and the roof. This will be DRB Resolution 2021-02. And I'll hand it over to John for a staff report.
Thank you, Chair Christensen. The applicant did include what appears to be a Photoshop graphic showing the colors, and I asked them to submit a paint swatch or paint chip, as some people call those. So the colors that show up on that Photoshop exhibit aren't quite, not quite exact. And I did email that out today. I'm going to see if I can.
You didn't see it, did you?
I got it.
I got it.
Everybody get a chance to look at that. The colors are pretty close, but anyway, I did want to send that out today. I can try and pull up the paint chip if I can figure out how to share my screen here. Give me just a second. You got it for, there we go. So if everybody's seen that, I'm not going to bother to pull it up. The applicant is here tonight, participating tonight, and can expand upon the proposal. Be happy to answer any questions at this time, if there are any. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Mr. Eric Jurison, would you like to introduce yourself to the board and the record and explain your project tonight?
Yes, my name's Eric Jurison. Really what we're doing here is just doing an update on the building. The building is currently white, yellow, and red, and we're just moving colors around and going white, yellow, and black. We're using all the existing signs, really just putting new graphics on them. The place just looks kind of tired.
Cool. Thank you, Eric. Okay, so I'm going to open up a discussion to the board. I'd like to know what you guys think about this.
Well, to me, it looks like a logical extension of what exists. I don't see anything really new except for the switch of colors that would make much of a difference to my eye. I think it's a pretty for what we're dealing with, this is a pretty good job to my eye.
Cool. I like that. Carol, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I went down to the tavern in Old Town, and this really mirrors those buildings down there, the hotel and the restaurant and everything. And it's kind of like keeping a branding for Eric. I think it looks good. The picture that we have, this rendition, isn't great. So when you first look at it, it looks like a black building, but it's windows. And no, I think it'd be interesting when you stand out there in person and look at it with the red doors to the fire station in the background. It's kind of dramatic, I think. It's a new look for Jerome.
Yeah, I think it's an updated look. Looking at his other restaurants, like the Clink Scale, you got a black and red, you got the Haunted Hamburger, you got a black and green and white. And so I think this definitely fits the palette that Eric's got going on. And, I'd like it too. I'd like to see it updated, and it made it easy, making the signs same dimensions and everything in the same position or locations. So this seems pretty straightforward. John McDonald, what do you think?
I pretty much the same opinion as Bryce. It's the same signage. You're gonna change the color and I don't think it's that big a difference from what you have now. It's just gonna stand out a little bit more. The contrast is better.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's a sign.
Mhm. Okay, with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve DRB Resolution 2021-02 as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay, a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor of approving DRB Resolution 2021-02, please say aye.
I,
Aye, and opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you, Eric, for getting on the call tonight. We appreciate it, and good luck on your project. It looks really great. Really excited to see what that looks like.
I'm going to thank everybody. And I also want to point out to Mary, it was under 5 minutes and I won the bet. Thank you.
Okay, on to item number 7. Replace existing wood doors with wood windows. Applicants are Mary Wills and Sally Dreyer. The address is 136 Main Street, Nellie Bly and Nellie Bly 2. The owner of record is Mary Wills and Sally Dreyer. This is in the C1 zone, and the applicants are seeking preliminary and final design review to replace existing second-story wood doors with wood windows. This will be DRB Resolution 2021-03. And I'll hand it off to John Knight for a staff report.
Thank you, John Knight, zoning administrator. Just a quick staff report. This was a little bit confusing when I first looked at it. This is both Nellie Bly and the adjacent Nellie Bly 2. It's actually the second story, not the first story, which is what confused me. And I did highlight that with a red cloud on one of the graphics to show you exactly which ones they're talking about. They're actually doors. I didn't realize that because I don't stand up on the second story, but they're actually doors that are in there today. And the applicant's proposing to change those out to windows, which obviously makes sense. They are going to use wood windows to stay in keeping with the historical character. The last time these Miss Wills and Dreyer were in front of us was when they did the cornice, and they've done other work in the past. And I think the history of their and quality of their work speaks for itself. So I don't see any issues or concerns with this. They did include, as best we could get, as best they could find, couple historical photographs of the building to show you some examples of what they want to return, see if they can return it to that character as much as possible. So be happy to answer any questions. The applicant is participating tonight, so if you have any questions of them, they're here to help as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Mary, Sally, would you like to introduce yourself to the board and the record and explain your project tonight? You're muted. Sorry about that. John, can you unmute them?
Oh, John's muting us.
John's muted.
John, let us out.
You dirty rat.
You're muted, John.
Okay, we can hear you now.
I was going to say, I think we can hear him. You might need to step closer. One of you may need to step closer to the computer.
Okay, I'm Mary Wills, and this is Sally Dreyer. Hello.
Hello.
And Brett Graham is also on board here. And he is the owner of Copper Mountain Millworks, who did the woodworking for Tim McClellan when they did the Boomtown Builders. So he has a good historical sense. The original windows were, I included a picture of the original windows, which included transom on the top. It's 4 windows. They were blocked off, and then they became doors for no particular reason, and leaking doors. So essentially, we're just taking it back to the original. And I showed the paint colors, which are the same as what we currently have in the building. And it'll just be all Nellie Bly 1, just Nellie Bly. It won't be any Nellie Bly 2.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. Any discussion from the board? Yes, Carol.
I think it looks beautiful. I remember when that was all boarded up, 45 or 50 years ago. This will be gorgeous. It's wonderful. All the other work they've done to the front of the building is terrific. It's just going to really finish it off.
Yeah, I agree. One step closer to making it more original is can't go wrong with that for sure.
Looks very nice.
Yes, Bryce.
This is just going to get boring. I really like the work these people do. I'm so happy with everything I've seen that's come along. Guess how I'm going to vote. Okay. I would like to move to approve this project too.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? We have a second, Carol. Any more discussion on this?
You did, right?
Okay, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor of approving DRB Resolution 2021-03 as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? And that motion passes. Thank you so much, Mary and Sally, and good luck to your project. I can't wait to see it. It's one step, making that thing more OG. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item number 8.
Pergola.
Pergola. I've actually never heard the word pergola before. Is Jack Dillenberg, Dr. Jack Dillenberg. Address is 700 Holly Avenue. The owner of record is Dr. Jack Dillenberg. This is in the R15 zone, and the applicant is seeking preliminary and final design review to construct a pergola shade structure. Pergola. Thank you. Thank you. Pergola shade structure. This will be DRB Resolution 2021-04. And I will give it to John Knight for a staff report.
Thank you, John Knight, zoning administrator. We did get an application from Dr. Jack Dillenberg, and it was for pergola. And I didn't know exactly how the code treats pergola, and I did research our code to see if there was any reference in the code about pergolas. The only thing I could come across was landscape features. I did have a chance to talk to our building inspector, Barry Wollstonecroft, about the pergola, and he said it doesn't even require a building permit. So since it doesn't require a building permit, I think we can say it should not be treated as a structure under our code. However, for fire code purposes and reasonable setback purposes, the applicant has agreed to meet the setbacks that we would otherwise apply to a structure like a shed or some other something that we would consider a structure. So the applicant is proposing to be 5 feet from the property lines, 10 feet it's actually 10 feet from the street as well. So that meets although it's not required and there's nothing in our code that specifically addresses pergola, shade structures, setbacks for landscape features, I think it's reasonable to require those setbacks for fire purposes and simply space from the neighbors. We don't, because it's not considered a structure, we don't have to go to P&Z on this. And so the approval tonight would be the final approval through the design review board. The applicant obviously is participating. There's a nice picture of another pergola in the packet. And as I understand it, it's basically going to be the same design. But the applicant is here if you do have any additional questions for him about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Yes, Dr. Jack Dillenberg, would you like to introduce yourself to the board and the record and explain your project for us?
Thank you. Thank you all.
That's
Dr.
nice.
Jack Dillenberg. Hi, good to see you all. A pergola, the interesting thing is we're basically doing it just to get a little shade. These are structures, 2 or 3 pieces of wood that have no walls, no roof. It has some wood going across. There's no electric, nothing. It's really just cross beams up there. It's an open frame, mainly to provide shade right next to the house off the patio to the side. There's a tree between it and the house. There'll be 2 or 3 beams supporting it. Again, no walls. And they're very commonly used on decks and patios. They're not attached to the home in any way, really. And it's just a sitting area that allows for breeze, light sun, protection from harsh sunlight. And maybe we'll have a plant growing up one of the pieces of wood, the frames, just to make it look nice. But it's going to be out of old cedar and redwood, so it fits right into the color and the sort of the fit right there, match as best we can. And Adam Downey, our neighbor, who's really really good at this stuff, is so excited for the opportunity to build it for us. He did all that wonderful detailed woodwork for Western Furniture, and it shouldn't take more than a week, to really do this. And it's basically just standing on the ground and doing it. I'll be happy to answer any questions if you do. It's I think it's Jerome's first pergola. I don't know, but it's, there you go. Just, but anyway, it's really simple, and you know, I just want to make sure that I follow all the rules, and that's why we were making sure that the distances are correct, and so on. So there'll be, again, no water, no electricity, nothing like that to even propose fire risk in any way. Thank you. Sorry, I'm talking too much.
No, you're good. You're good. Thank you, Jack, for sharing. Yeah, I really like that. I haven't seen one of these yet before in Jerome. I feel like they should be everywhere, but I guess it's one of the first. And I like the fact that it can have plants growing up into it to make it really match the landscape. What's the board's thoughts on this?
I really like it. I think it's beautiful. I want the same thing in my yard.
We can
I have a copy of
Yeah, we'll talk to Adam, see if we can get a package.
A 2 for 1.
gorgeous. It's exactly what I wanted. I think it's very, very handsome. It's beautiful.
You're going to start a trend. Any other thoughts, discussion, questions? I'd like to make a motion to approve this project as presented.
Does anybody else want to second it?
Carol's always the second.
That's good. Thank you, Carol.
Tonight it is.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second on the floor. Carol is the second. All those in favor of approving DRB resolution 2021-04 as presented, please say aye.
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 Aye. And opposed? And that passes. Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you all.
making it on
Thank
here.
you all for your work for
Good luck
the
with the
town.
project.
It's much appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All the very best.
Thank
I
you.
guess my only comment was the same as Carol's. As soon as I saw it, I'm like, where can I work one of those into my yard?
Need
Except
one.
I want a turret on the top so I can hunt down javelinas when they come through.
Yeah. Okay, on to item number 9, updates and recent upcoming meetings. And I will hand this to John Knight.
Thank you very much, Chair Christensen. So we've got an upcoming council meeting, and at the last council meeting, we did the first reading of the ordinance for the amendment regarding transient lodging. And I did want to mention, it's not listed on the agenda specifically, but I did want to mention, we went through the design review board at the last meeting and we talked about administrative approvals of small projects. And that's actually going to be going before council at the next meeting, along with the second reading. Let's see. So we had the first reading on February 9th of the residential lodging amendment, and the second reading of that, and then it would hopefully be a first reading of the administrative approval of small projects, which we discussed last month at this board. So if that's something you're interested in, I did incorporate all of the, I believe I incorporated all the comments that we got from the board. There was a whole list of projects that would go to DRB, but not require P&Z approval. So I did incorporate all those things like signs and sheds and those sort of things. So just to give you a heads up, the next council meeting, which also happens to be March 9th. So that's the way the days worked out, that's going up. And on February 17th, we did, we did discuss the ordinance amendments for temporary signs. They're primarily, but not exclusively, focused on temporary signs. And I know that's something that I suspect this board is interested in as well. And that's going to go back to the P&Z for consideration on the, must be the 17th as well. So that'll go back before P&Z on March 17th. So if you're interested in what we're up to with temporary signs, you might want to join us on the Zoom call on March 17th. And I'm just going to jump into item number 10, just to give you a heads up. We have new applicants, new owners for the property that we're referring to as the Mexican pool property. And I've been meeting with them and they've been going through some conceptual designs. And I suspect that'll be going before P&Z in April or perhaps even in May. And then it'll also come to DRB for their consideration as well. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And the only future item I had coming up for April 5th, your next meeting, is I did get contacted by the owner of Raku, which board member Whitner knows very well. I did get contacted by the owner of Raku Gallery, and they're going to update their sign as well. So that's the only item so far that I have for the next meeting.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John. Okay. On to item number 12, adjourn. Any discussion?
About
Motion?
Shall we talk about it?
that.
Okay, I'd like someone else to make a motion.
I think Carol should make the motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn this meeting at 28 PM.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I heard it from John. So we have a motion and a second on the floor to adjourn the meeting at 6:28 PM. All those in favor, please say aye.
I
And opposed? And it passes. Thank you guys so much. Have a great night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.